Hey everybody, tackling the passenger side leaf springs. Seems like all these full-size Jeeps, you just have to cut everything off. It's just kind of frustrating, but it is what it is. So I'll show you what I'm talking about right now. So to recap, the other side, I had to completely rebuild that shackle mount right here. The tire's on, leaf spring is on. I had to partially rebuild this mount over here, the bottom half. And I already knew that the passenger side, pretty much the whole front mount had to be rebuilt, but the rear shackle mount was actually in really great shape. But unfortunately, the 50-year-old leaf springs, the bolts were almost impossible to get off. They weren't rust welded to the shackle itself, but the bolts, the nuts and stuff, they just wouldn't spin. And eventually I rounded off the nut and the bolt head, so because of the severe rust that was on it. So I, just like I did my Wagoneer, and just like I did the other side, I had to cut it off. So, let's see, where is it? Right there. So I had to cut the bottom off and the front in order to get the spring off. So this is the front right here. I cleaned it up. And actually the bottom was pretty badly pitted on the inside, so maybe it's a good thing that I cut it off, because I just made a new piece right here. So the front and the bottom, that's all that was cut off on this thing. The sides are okay. It just needs wire wheeled and painted, welded back on. Now this side, I almost wish I could show you guys how I do this stuff, the process of doing it, and like making a sped up video to show you, but this whole thing had to be rebuilt. The only thing that was good on it was right here, but the lower, I want to say, quarter section, maybe a little bit more in the quarter section, was bad. Entire bottom was completely bad. This whole plate right here, it's going to be cut off at this point. This part right here was completely rusted off. I mean, the bolt was just, this is the bolt, the original one. The bolt was just like hanging in the air. It was only bolted on that side, on the frame, and this entire piece was just gone. The top half right here was gone. I had to cut some of the top off right here, and yes, I know this doesn't line up straight. That's because I'm running out of steel. So this piece and this piece are like leftover pieces that I had. This one was almost tall enough, to get up to this height. So I just curved it. It really doesn't matter if it's straight or curved a little bit, as long as I weld it to the top up there. I'm not going to be able to weld it from the top because of the floor that's right here. But I'm going to weld it from the inside. So basically, I'm going to take off that thing, and I'm going to weld it from the inside. So what I did to line this piece up was, again, just like on the shackle mount in the rear, I cut off the bad leaf spring, eyelet or whatever, and I bolted it to the frame right here. And after I bolted it to the frame, then I took this piece, which I already cut, and I held it right here, and I took a Sharpie, and I marked where the bolt was, on this piece right here, and then I, pulled it back off, and I drilled a hole into it, and now I bolt this plate to this eyelet, or on the leaf spring, to the frame, and when I do that, it lines up this piece and keeps it flush and straight, the way it would be when it's bolted to the vehicle. And then you just tack weld it on, tack these plates on, and that's how you line everything up. So it's very simple, and it's actually kind of cool because you can use the frame to line up the outer piece. all I need to do now is, and when I say I'm running out of steel, I mean I am running out of steel. These are 3/16 plates. This is the last 3/16 that I have. I don't have another 3/16 piece for right here. So I just took some 1/8 steel that I have, and I'm gonna, come on now. I'm gonna weld that in right here. So, yeah, it's not as thick as 3/16, but it's just one little bottom piece. I think it's gonna be plenty, so... to be honest, this piece right here is not even 3/16 anymore. It rusted down to about 1/8. So, but the majority of the structure is 3/16 like it was factory. So this little piece is not going to matter. So use what you have. That's all I got to say. So anyway, I'll let you guys go. I'm going to finish welding these pieces together and then take this eyelet out here. And then I need to weld that shackle mount back on. And then I'm going to clean up the frame, wire wheel it, clean up the wheel well in here, clean up that welded patch, you know, and then paint it all just like I did the other side. And then I got to, thankfully the axle tube is not pitted on this side. It's just surface rusted. So I'm going to clean this up just a little bit. And clean up the top surface. Where is that thing? The top plate I need to clean. There it is. That little top plate right there. Get the bolts off of it, and then put the leaf spring in and bolt it all up, and then call it a night. So, and one really cool thing is, it's really cool replacing leaf springs and seeing the difference between the old and the new, because as soon as I put this leaf spring in here, I sat on the corner of the bed right here, and mind you, I'm 300 pounds, so I sat in the corner of the bed, and it didn't even drop. It dropped maybe like 1/4 of an inch. So plenty of weight capacity in the back of this thing, partially because it's a new spring and because of the coilover shocks that I have on there. Those coilover shocks give you an extra 500 pounds. Now, mind you, they don't give you 500 pounds extra load capacity. They give you 500 extra pounds to keep it from sagging. However, because this is a J10 truck, and the J10 and J20 are the same, minus the axle and the leaf springs, technically, I could have a 3/4 ton truck by doing this, but it's still a Dana 44 axle, so I have to remind myself not to put, you know, 2,000 pounds in the back of this thing with a Dana 44. So I think a Dana 44, the front is, I think, 3,000, the rear is 3,000, or maybe it's 3,200. I think total gross vehicle weight is 6,000 on this truck. I think the later models are like 6,400 or something like that. So you deduct that from the weight of the vehicle, which factory, the weight of the vehicle was like 4,300 pounds, and that's your load carrying capacity for the axles. So 60, let's say 6,000 minus 4,300, that's 1,700 pounds. So I have 1,700 pounds. That's a 3/4 ton load. So now that's not counting me. So you deduct my weight from that, and etc. So anyway, I'll let you guys go. I'm not going to try to extend this video anymore, but thank you for watching, everybody. Have a great night.